House Republican support for President Donald Trump appears to remain strong as the partisan divide over the impeachment inquiry remains. Democrats are pointing to yesterday's testimony by Ambassador Gordon Sondland as connecting President Trump to a quid pro quo, conditioning military aid to Ukraine on investigations into former Vice President Joe Biden and his son. Many GOP lawmakers say Sondland's testimony has not changed their minds. Joining me now from Capitol Hill is Chairman of the House Freedom Caucus, Republican Congressman Andy Biggs. Congressman, welcome back to the program. We've now heard testimony this week from career diplomats who say they believe there was a quid pro quo. What's your response to what you've heard?
Well, if we were to take the two people who are testifying currently, they're not giving us anything new. It's the same thing we've heard before. But when you say career diplomats, that's exactly what we're hearing. Leave Ambassador Sondland out, but most everybody else has been career diplomats. Many of them are upset because of President Trump's skepticism on whether Ukraine was going to fight corruption. Many of them are upset because he had what they thought was a rogue team, even though there were Ambassador Volker, Ambassador Sondland, and Secretary Perry, who were not rogue, but they were working within normal channels. A lot of this is deep-seated animosity toward the president over the fact that they're not controlling the foreign policy, but the president is. But the other thing that I would just tell you is there's nothing new that's happening today, except for one interesting thing when Dr. Hill actually said that members of the committee are putting a false narrative out there that the Russians didn't interfere in the 2016 election. And what she said is a lie, a flat-out lie. There is no one in Congress who believes the Russians didn't interfere in the 2016 election. I think it undercuts her credibility, and she should just stick to the facts and not opine on political judgments like that.
You had mentioned animosity. Do you think that Ambassador Gordon Sondland has that sense of animosity?
I'm not sure what to make of Gordon Sondland. I mean, he seemed to answer whatever anybody asked him. He was kind of affirming whatever their position was. But the one thing that Sondland did out of the whole mess was say, look, the president told me he didn't want anything from Ukraine, no quid pro quo. All he wanted was President Zelensky to enact his policies consistent with his platform, which is an anti-corruption platform. That's what Sondland said repeatedly yesterday.
It is very interesting. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says there is clear evidence that President Donald Trump has used his office for personal gain. Congressman, what do you think of that statement?
Well, first of all, there's no clear evidence of anything in this particular case. Everyone who's watching this and sat through said this is murky. A lot of it, in fact, most of it is indirect evidence, it's hearsay, and which makes this whole thing murky. That's why the American people are kind of tuning out in some respects. But I will also tell you this. This has been the goal of the Democrats for 3 years, and Nancy Pelosi's kind of backed her way into this. She didn't want to be here. She was kind of tricked into this and was told the whistleblower complaint had specific information. It turns out that the whistleblower complaint, what she was told about it was a lie. And so she's kind of having to defend where she is today. She's making these types of allegations. And again, I don't think she's watching these hearings. I think she's probably getting this from a staffer. And the staffer probably isn't construing this the way I think the American people are.
Do you believe the president is innocent of any wrongdoing?
I do, yeah, I do, absolutely. And I think that the American people are basically tired of the impeachment hearings. Good grief, heaven knows I am, and I'm in the middle of it. And I think we have so many issues that are so important to the Republic. And what we're seeing is just actually, quite frankly, a travesty, and it's going to set an incredibly poor precedent for the future. And that is to say, if you're going to try to impeach a president because you simply don't like him, as they, by the way, they iterated 3 years ago that was their objective, then that's a bad precedent for this long-enduring republic.
All right, we'll be following all of this. Obviously, the House Democrats have not announced what the next steps are, so we'll continue to keep our eye on this what could potentially be next steps. Congressman Andy Biggs, Republican from Arizona and chairman of the House Freedom Caucus, thanks so much for talking with us.
Great to be with you, Wyatt. Thank you.